Let me ask you something deeply personal. When was the last time you felt truly, completely happy? Not just distracted, not just busy, but actually at peace with yourself and your life? Most people can't answer that. And here's the painful truth. You have been chasing happiness in every wrong direction. You've been chasing it in other people's approval, in money, in achievements, in validation from a world that doesn't even know your name. And every time you get close, it disappears. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. A psychological trap most people never escape. But what if happiness wasn't something you chase? What if it was something you build, from the inside, through the way you think, respond, and see the world? The Stoics knew this 2,000 years ago, and modern psychology is just now catching up. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how. Stay till the end, because the last tip will genuinely change how you see everything. If you're here watching this, you are not an ordinary person. Ordinary people scroll past. You stopped. That means something in you is searching for depth, for control, for a life that feels real and not just performed. This channel exists for people like you. People who are tired of surface-level advice. People who want to understand the psychology behind their emotions and use ancient, Stoic wisdom as a tool, not just a philosophy. If that's you, consider subscribing, because every video we make is designed to shift something deep inside you. You belong here. In this video, I'm giving you 5 essential psychological tips for achieving real, lasting happiness rooted in Stoic wisdom and backed by modern psychology. These are not motivational fluff. These are practical, tested mental shifts that will change how you respond to life, how you process pain, how you define success, and how you finally stop letting the outside world control your inner peace. By the end, you will think differently. Let's begin. Tip 1. Stop outsourcing your happiness. Here's the problem most people never admit. They have given the password to their happiness to other people. Your mood depends on whether someone replied. Your confidence depends on whether someone approved. Your peace depends on whether life went according to plan. And here's where it gets dangerous. When you outsource your happiness, you become emotionally homeless. You have no stable ground inside yourself. Psychologists call this external locus of control, the belief that your emotional state is controlled by forces outside you. And research consistently shows that people with this mindset report far lower life satisfaction. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said it plainly. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the opinions about things. Your emotions are not caused by events. They are caused by your interpretation of those events. That is where your power lives. Think about someone in your life who hurt you. They didn't destroy your peace. Your unexamined belief that they were supposed to act differently, that's what destroyed it. The practical shift. Every morning, ask yourself, what am I depending on today to feel okay? Then practice feeling okay without it. Comment below, what's one thing you've been depending on for happiness that you need to let go? Tip 2. Embrace discomfort as a teacher, not an enemy. Be honest, is this you? The moment life gets uncomfortable, you reach for your phone, food, distraction, anything to escape the feeling. Most people never fix this, and that's exactly why they stay stuck. Psychologically, this is called experiential avoidance. The more you run from discomfort, the more power it gains over you. Studies in acceptance and commitment therapy prove that avoiding pain increases suffering, while facing it reduces it. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who ruled the most powerful empire in the world while facing war, plague, and betrayal, wrote this: "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He wasn't being poetic. He was being precise. Imagine someone afraid of rejection who never applies for the job, never asks out the person they like, never speaks their truth. They avoided discomfort every single time. And 5 years later, they are living someone else's life. The practical shift. Next time discomfort shows up, pause and say, what is this teaching me right now? Treat it like data, not a threat. Have you ever felt that avoiding pain made things worse in the long run? Be honest. And if this video is shifting something in you, subscribe right now. We post deep content like this every week. Tip 3. Master the art of wanting what you already have. Here's the truth most people miss. Your brain is wired to be dissatisfied. It's called the hedonic treadmill. You get the job, the relationship, the money, and within weeks, it feels normal. And you're already wanting more. This is not a personal failure. This is biology. But here's what's dangerous about it. If you don't interrupt this pattern consciously, you will spend your entire life arriving at destinations that feel empty. Psychologist Sonia Lubomirsky's research shows that only 10% of our happiness comes from life circumstances. A full 40% comes from intentional mental activity, how we choose to think. Epictetus wrote, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This isn't toxic positivity. This is a trained mental skill. Real-life example. 2 people lose their job. One spirals into depression. One uses it as a reset, reconnects with family, rediscovers purpose. Same event. Completely different experience. The difference is gratitude combined with perspective. Here's the practical shift. Write down 3 specific things tonight you would miss deeply if they were gone. Feel that. That is your happiness already here. Tip 4. Kill the comparison habit before it kills you. What happens next will surprise you. The single most reliable way to feel miserable in the modern world is to spend time on social media, comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. Most people know this. Almost no one stops doing it. Psychologically, this is called social comparison theory, introduced by Leon Festinger in 1954. We naturally compare ourselves to others to evaluate our own worth. But in a social media world, you're comparing yourself to a curated fiction, and your brain doesn't know the difference. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much more damage anger and grief do to us than the things that cause them?" Replace anger and grief with envy. The principle is identical. Imagine spending 2 hours scrolling through successful people's lives instead of working on your own. That's not motivation. That's slow self-destruction wrapped in a phone screen. The practical shift. Compete only with who you were yesterday. Every single day, ask one question. Am I better than I was 24 hours ago? That's your only real competition. Comment. Who do you compare yourself to most? And is it actually helping you grow? Tip 5. Accept impermanence and finally be free. This is the deepest tip. And most people are not ready for it. Everything you are holding onto so tightly, your relationships, your identity, your plans, your comfort, is temporary. And here's the psychological truth. Your anxiety, your control issues, your fear of loss, almost all of it comes from one root cause. You are refusing to accept impermanence. Psychologists who study acceptance and mindfulness consistently find that resistance to change is the #1 driver of chronic psychological suffering. Not the change itself, the resistance. The Stoics practice something called memento mori, the meditation on death and impermanence. Not to become sad, but to become free. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." Think about a time you lost something, a relationship, an opportunity, a version of yourself. At the time, it felt like destruction. But looking back, wasn't it also the beginning of something new? The practical shift. Hold everything in your life with an open hand. Love it fully. But know that it is passing through you, not belonging to you. Let's bring it all together. because these 5 lessons are not isolated tips. They are one unified philosophy. Stop outsourcing your happiness to the world outside. Face discomfort with curiosity instead of running from it. Train yourself to want what you already have. Kill the comparison habit by becoming your own measure of progress. And accept that impermanence is not your enemy, it is your greatest teacher. The Stoics didn't promise a life without pain. They promised something far more valuable, a life where pain no longer owns you, where you are not a leaf being thrown around by the wind, but a tree with roots so deep that storms move through you without destroying you. That is the real definition of happiness. Not a constant smile, not a perfect life, but an unshakable inner foundation that holds even when everything outside is falling apart. You already have access to this. It's not somewhere out there. It has always been inside you, waiting for you to stop looking everywhere else. The Stoics called it your hegemonikon, your ruling faculty, your inner command center. And now you know how to use it. Now I want to hear from you. Of these 5 tips, which one hit you the hardest? Which one are you going to start applying today? Drop it in the comments, because your answer might be exactly what someone else in this community needs to read right now. Your words carry weight. If this video gave you something real, subscribe, because we are building a community of people committed to thinking deeply, living powerfully, and never settling for a life that feels empty. You showed up today. That matters. Now go build something unshakable.